This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Ayo, Ashley Monet here, back with another installment of the Pantone Challenge. I know what you're thinking, so soon, but yes. Turns out while I was busy not doing it for so long, I forgot how fun it was. So I was like, let me just do one more. Today, the category is landscapes. Now, if I've said it one time, I've said it 100 times. Landscapes are not a strength of mine. They are my Achilles heel. They are my kryptonite. I'm just not good at them. And because I'm not good at them, I avoid doing them, which is not a very good strategy if I ever want to improve. So you know what? No more running. Today is the day. I'm gonna face this head on. Now, what inspired me to finally take this plunge? Well, my bestie, Creative Paula, actually linked a class called 30 Days of Mini Watercolor Landscapes by Zanina Nabil. And in that class is a challenge to do one small landscape per day for 30 days just to kind of get some practice. Now, 30 days is great. I don't personally have that amount of time to commit, but what I can do is kind of dial it back, do it as a Pantone challenge, and then do 7 days. I think that's a reasonable compromise, although I do want to look more into those 30-day challenges. I love that they help you develop like a daily art habit. And you can find this 30-day art challenge as well as a ton of others on Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creative people, you know, like you and me. They offer thousands of creative classes taught by industry experts in a plethora of categories like art and illustration, design, photography, heck, even business and productivity. Skillshare has a learn by doing approach where members can even share projects with the community to kind of celebrate completing a class, which, by the way, they can do 100% at their own pace. And you can get started today because the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Now let's jump right in and get to painting. Again, here are this week's swatches. I'm gonna start with coconut, this creamy white color. So since with landscapes, I will be filling the whole card with color, I want to tape off this top bit of the swatch. So I have just a little bit of that original color preserved for reference. Like I want to be able to spot exactly where it is in the finished painting, if that makes sense. Okay, so you all know I base what I paint off of the name of the swatch. With this one being called Coconut, I wanted to start with a lovely beach scene. I started with a gradient of blues for the sky and the ocean, and then wanted to use the swatch itself as the base color for the sand of the beach. Needed some tropical plants and of course some palm trees. Finally, I went through with a couple of acrylic markers for the fine little details. And then we could pull the tape. Oh, that wasn't very satisfying. Boo. But here's Coconut, all finished. I'm pretty impressed with myself. This one isn't too bad. But let's press on. The next swatch is Pine Forest, appropriately named as it is just pine green. And if you guessed that I was going to paint a pine forest landscape, you'd be wrong. No, I'm totally kidding. Obviously, a pine forest is what it's going to be. I'm just trying to keep you guys on your toes. Sometimes the voiceovers on these videos can be really challenging. Like, I'm not creating anything wild and new. There's really no story to tell. It's literally just, the swatch was called Cookie, so I painted a cookie. I used the color brown because this one is chocolate chip. That's how it feels sometimes. But okay, Pine Forest. I went with a gray, gloomy sky, then just layered a bunch of pine trees in front. Honestly, I probably could have and should have just stuck with that, but it felt way too simple for me. So then I decided to bring in a ground line, but I had no forward planning on what I would do with it. So in that moment, I opted for a grassy plain. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's there. So let's go ahead and pull the tape. Another fail. And it's crooked. Oh well, could this one be better? Oh yeah, but that's why we have 5 more to go. So up next is Moonlit Snow, and yes, it's white. The first thing I wanted to do with this one was create a night sky, so I used a blend of kind of dark navy blue and purple, and I'm gonna paint a little like river or creek, some little body of water running through 2 little snowbanks. So of course I made that water the same color. And for the snow, it needed to be toned down a little since this is nighttime. So let me just reflect some of that purple color and, blend, blend, blend. I wanted the night sky to be a smidge lighter at the horizon, and then I could add in some trees. We can do a few evergreens. But also a few naked trees, since presumably this scene is taking place in winter. Finished off the night sky with a big bright moon and some stars. And pull the tape. Once again, it was a damn mess. After this one, I did figure out a tape system that worked a bit better. But here it is, Moonlit Snow. I actually really like this one. Something about snow at night. I don't know, it's very dreamy to me. Now, swatch number 4 is Summer Sunset. This pretty deep orange, almost salmon color. So you can see the system here. I taped the edge, then sealed the tape with a color that's similar to the swatch itself. So any breaches will be a lot less visible, and the tape pull should look clean. All right, let's make this sunset. I want to create a blend from purple to pink to this orangey salmon. And of course, I gotta add some fluffy clouds. Not gonna lie, I was super excited for this swatch because I had an image already in mind. Now, while summer has never been my favorite season, one thing I actually love as like one of my top 10 things in the whole world is taking a walk with the person that I love in the summer, just as the sun is setting and the evening starts. Oh, it's like the perfect moment. The air feels nice. It's not too hot. The sky has the beautiful summer sunset going. It is just so romantic. So for this painting, I wanted to kind of do a view I might get on such a walk where you'll see that beautiful sunset peeking out behind the treetops. You've got the utility poles and power lines with birds everywhere. Like, it is so picturesque. You know, actually, I could use more trees. Yes, feeling good about that. Moment of truth now. There it is. I love this one so much. It is definitely my favorite of the bunch. Although since there's no land, is it technically not a landscape? A skyscape? Is that a thing? I don't know. But next up is Ash, a gray that's so pale it's nearly white. So with the name of the swatch being Ash, of course I had to paint myself. I'm totally kidding again, as if I could pull off a self-portrait that small. No, instead I was thinking I should do a volcano, like volcanic ash. My first step was to make some dark, smoky clouds at the top where the lava will be erupting. Not gonna lie, those gave me quite a bit of trouble, but I do think, after much, much work, they did come out okay. And now for the volcano itself, pretty straightforward. But this is the part I'm super excited for. Some liquid hot magma. Maybe we can add a little shrubbery too, just to make it more dynamic. Okay, pull the tape. So nice. Oh, ruined the shot. But we got there eventually, and this one looks awesome. I love it. Can't say I've done much volcano art, so this was something different, and I think it came together pretty well. Next up is Stonehenge Greige, which is also quite appropriately named, because if I could describe this color, I would describe it as a stony gray. So in a move that surprises no one, I'm going to paint Stonehenge on this card. Now let me say I greatly underestimated the task. I was like, it's a bunch of rocks. Easy peasy, no biggie. But the more I did on this painting, the less I liked it. Like, I think my color selections were off for the grass and the sky. They were almost too bright, like very saturated, but I kept on trucking and tried to make something of the giant stones, but honestly, I wasn't able to get enough texture on them this small. It really was screaming for more detail, and this whole thing just ended up, I don't know, feeling a little basic to me. Still, I pushed forward, added some of the mossy bits everywhere, tried to work a little detail into the grass, and finally I just had to say, like, okay, this is as good as it's gonna get. Clearly, I was not a fan of this one. I guess there's got to be at least one in each batch that I'm like, meh. Oh, wait, this is the second one. Proof that landscapes are my weakness. But okay, let me try to do better with Mountain Gray. Another swatch that is virtually white, maybe ever so slightly darker. Now let me say first off, I made the decision to do all of these cards from imagination, not using references. Like, I was really trying to challenge myself to practice these on my own. I think this is the one that could have benefited the most from a reference, but in my mind, I was just kind of replaying like pretty much every Bob Ross episode that I've ever seen to come up with the composition. Like, I wanted to do a cute little mountain range with a crystal clear lake in front of it on a bright sunny day. I wanted the mountains to have that classic snow-capped look. I wanted to do a bunch of pine trees surrounding the water. And then here in the foreground, I wanted to do a couple of those trees close up, and then a cute little grassy meadow. Okay, I mean, it's cute, but it lacks a certain realism and detail that could have just taken it to where I wanted it to go. Honestly, though, for how bad I am at landscapes, I'm pretty happy with how I did on most of these. I would say the summer sunset, the moonlit snow, and the coconut are my faves of the bunch. But honestly, this whole challenge made me want to try more, maybe on a larger scale, so I can really add those details. So there's obviously still room for improvement, but for me, these are not too shabby. I don't know, shout out the one you like most in the comments. I'm always interested to see. And I actually am really feeling this portion taped off so you can see the original swatch color. I think I might continue doing that for my future Pantone challenge videos. We still have a whole goo gob of categories to get through eventually. But thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.